Okay guys, it's Friday after work, and what are we doing? We're getting ready to do some shredding this weekend with the John Deere HX15 rotary cutter, the new Holland T5060 100 horsepower tractor. And this is what you need to do to get ready to shred. First thing we did, cleaned out the radiator, blew it out on the tractor. We greased everything on the tractor. We checked the oil, we checked the transmission fluid, we filled it with diesel, cleaned the windshield, cleaned the dirt out on the inside, because I'm going to spend 5 or 6 hours in there tomorrow. Then we moved on to hooking up the shredder. From there, there's 51 grease joints on this bad boy. So we greased everything. We also checked the 3 gearboxes, made sure they had oil. We got this thing ready to go. So we're going to hit it first thing tomorrow morning, and we're going to focus on doing some shredding at telephone. Good morning, Heritage Farms. 6:15. We got the shredder going. The lights are still on the barn. It's going to be a nice summer day in North Texas. Going to get up to about 90 degrees today, but thank goodness a lot of the humidity we've been experiencing is gone. The triple-digit heat is gone. We've had a solid 2 weeks now, it seems like, of really high temps. So today's only going to get up to 90. Ooh, and a chance of rain, 20%. But hey, I'll take those odds. Beautiful, beautiful sunset. So what's on deck today? We are shredding today. That is the plan. We are going to shred, and see how much we can get done. We've just got some weeds we got to knock down, and hopefully the grass can grow up underneath it, and we'll go from there. I do have some exciting things to tell you guys on a process that I've started, and we'll see if I can accomplish it or not, but more to follow. All right, guys. 7:45 Saturday morning. Well, when I showed this to you last time, it was like 6:15. And we were going to go shred. Well, we had good intentions to go shred. We got hooked up with the shredder, went over to the pasture, and actually we were pulling into the pasture, and there is a ridge. They graded the road, and there was a ridge going into the pasture. Well, when we did that, it pushed the drive shaft up a little bit further than it normally does on the PTO. And basically it pulled it off of the PTO itself. So now I've got the drive shaft kind of stuck, and it's not sliding. Even though I lubricated it yesterday and everything, it's got a little bit of a problem. So now I got to figure that out. So I came back while the morning was still cool. I planted this replacement tree. This is the tree that we lost in the drought last year. It's a Kanza. And I don't know if you guys can notice this, but one thing you always do is you see down here, there is the graft and the bow. You always want to face the bow to the south. And the reason for that is we get predominantly south winds during the summer. So as the south winds come, that'll basically make that tree straight over the years. If you also notice, I did not plant that tree straight up and down. I planted it at a slight angle to the south, because once again, over time, it's gonna learn to go straight. So gives it a little bit more strength, allows it to handle those strong southerly winds that we get. So it's a little bit late in the year to be planting trees. I get it. I did put down a bag of mulch at the base of the tree to try to keep moisture in. Of course, we do have sprinkler irrigation. But the other thing I did was I set up these yellow mineral tubs, and I put some water in them, and I drilled a super fine hole in the bottom. And the purpose of that fine hole is basically it's almost like a drip irrigation system. So I've put water in both of the buckets, and those buckets right now are dripping a very, very small amount of water in there. So we'll see over the next day or so how good my idea is. But when you're only here on the weekends, you got to do everything you possibly can to help that tree survive. And regular irrigation 2 or 3 days a week may not be enough moisture for a young tree to make it during a Texas heat wave. So that's what we're doing. We are trying to protect that tree, give it a little additional water. Let me know what you think, guys. But yeah, it's a shame to lose a tree in an orchard where everything is this far along. But you know what? That's agriculture. And you look at some of these big pecan orchards in Georgia and places, there is a mixture of mature trees and young trees. It's just inevitable that you get a storm, tornado. Trees just die like people. They're living mechanisms. Sometimes they just don't make it. But that's what we're doing. So we got this thing set up, new tree planted. We'll see if it makes it. Fingers crossed. Now, I don't know what the weekend's gonna hold for me now. So now we're getting into the heat of the day. Good morning. All right, well, we're back at it. It's July 2nd, and we are on the back of our Telephone 2 property, and we are shredding weeds. Boy, let me tell you what, it's just not good, man. There is something fighting you all of the time up here. And, you know, whether it's dust or what's going on. So, I am continuing my focus on how to be better at raising grass, and then I think if I can handle the grass, I think everything else will kind of come into place on its own. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm applying for my Texas private applicator license. And what that will allow me to do is it will allow me to actually purchase restricted herbicides, pesticides, things of that nature that normally professionals are limited to. It also requires me to go through training to learn all of the pros and cons of each one. It also allows me to understand how to apply concerns about drift, runoff, seepage, absorption into the soil, all of those things. What's toxic? What's the first aid procedures if you come in touch with these chemicals? How to store the chemicals? What to do with the chemicals? Yada, yada, yada. And then, once you get your applicator's license, you have to go through this course and study for it. You have to pass the test with, I think, a 70% rating. And then once you do that, then every 5 years, you have to complete 15 additional credit units to keep your license intact, you know, to address any changes in the environment, any changes in chemical technology, all of that kind of stuff that may come up. So there you go, guys. You got a lot going on here just to get your chemical license and everything. So anyway, that's what we're working on. We got the new Holland 5060, the John Deere HX15, and we are out working. Boy, let me tell you what, this is some uneven ground around here. Between all of the hog damage, there was a lot of cedar trees removed on this property early on, and it's just rough, tough sledding is all I can say about this. But hey, it is what it is. Once you check that tree, it's hollowed out. That is a widow maker and really needs to be taken out. All right, I have my hands full here trying to shred and video, so more to follow. Okay guys, well, almost noon on June the 2nd. New Holland 5060 and the HX15 shredder. They did a good job. They survived. Boy, let me tell you what, there's nothing easy about bush hogging, which I'm really looking forward to getting my applicator license, starting to be able to spray herbicide and weed control and really get the weeds under control, put out lime, get the pH up. Probably going to overseed this little section here with the Quick Bahia grass. The results in that little test pasture I did were really good, so I feel pretty good about reinvesting in that. We're going to try to turn this thing around. The weeds are just so invasive and just so overpowering, and if you're going to try to raise cattle, man, grass is just so important. I mean, A, to bale your own hay, to be self-sufficient, and then B, I mean, just to feed your cattle and make your life easier, because if the grass is there, that's less feed you have to put out, less labor. The cattle become very self-sufficient at that point. That was some of the best advice an old timer gave me was, hey man, don't try to be a rancher, try to be a farmer, try to raise grass. If you can raise grass and hay, cattle will take care of themselves. That's the easy part. In hindsight, looking back, that guy was a genius. I think he was spot on. All right, well that calls it a wrap. We're getting ready to shift gears, get ready for the 4th of July weekend, try to have a little fun, do some grilling, a lot of time by the pool. We also got a little different project going on at our corporate offices, more to follow on that. And hey, as always, glory be to God. Hope you guys have a great 4th of July. Thank anybody that served in our service. Thank them for their service, just because, hey, this is the 4th of July. It's about our liberty and this great country. And we couldn't have this if it wasn't for all the people in the armed forces. So as always, glory be to God.